Hi, it's Megan. I got excited when I heard that Tom Ford was coming out with a new fragrance. Why I got excited over this particular one, I have no idea, except I kind of maybe do. Although I still think it's irrational. This is the Tom Ford Soleil Blanc. And from what it sounds like, it is the same fragrance that was used in the Summer Collection 2015 oil, body oil. But nobody knows for sure because this is officially not out yet. And so the caveat starting this video is I bought this off of eBay from a very respected seller with thousands of positive reviews saying that their stuff is legit. Why you can get this on eBay before you can get it at the stores, I don't know. But I think it's legit. If it's not, then, you know, take this review with a grain of salt. This is my Soleil Blanc, but it looks like the Tom Ford. It feels like the Tom Ford, like it seems right. And it's actually a really pretty scent. So why I just insisted I had to have this from eBay, I don't know, but I did get a pretty good deal for Tom Ford. On the Tom Ford site for pre-order, it says, remote private islands where summer lasts all year and one day seamlessly blends into the next inspire Soleil Blanc, an addictive summer floral amber alive with seductive refinement and refreshing decadence. Tom Ford's latest private blend collection creation, I'm mangling this, unapologetically exudes the endless pursuit of sun and luxury that defines Tom Ford Soleil. And so it comes in 50 milliliter, 100 milliliter, 250 milliliter. This one, they say, will retail for $220. I did not pay that. They say unexpected, sultry, and addictive. So, what do I think? You know, doing a review when the notes of a fragrance haven't been identified by the brand or not on any fragrance sites. I looked for reviews, I couldn't find any. So I'm going blind with this one, which is fine, I'm comfortable with that. What did I think? Start there again. So when I first sprayed it on, I smelled a lot of different things. And I think what partially struck me about this is I have done a bunch of reviews for the summer special limited edition fragrances. And I like them a lot. I love them. Living in warm weather, near the beach and everything. I don't know, maybe I just have this, I don't know, soft spot, genetic predisposition, who knows what it is, just lifestyle, anything. I really like a lot of the summer limited collection scents. And I'm not even particularly discerning sometimes. It started with Bobbi Brown Beach, and it probably goes back to my childhood with Coppertone and Bain de Soleil and all that. This is one of those fragrances. And so when I first smelled it, I was like, okay, I definitely get those bases. And usually the bases of a lot of those are either, in my opinion, the Coppertone, which when I was doing some research, I didn't know that that had coconut in it, but that's what I read somewhere. The scent has some coconut. Or the Bain de Soleil. And the Bain de Soleil tends to be a little bit more subtle. But these are things that bring me back to my childhood because I did spend too much time out in the sun when I was growing up, living in California. And I used Coppertone or Bain de Soleil, so it's always like, one or the other, one or the other. And this one smells more like Bain de Soleil. The thing that it reminded me the most of was the Guerlain Terracotta La Perfume, except it's a lot less floral. And the Tom Ford is supposed to be a unisex fragrance, and I can see that if you're okay with some floral. So when I sprayed it at first, I definitely smelled the coconut, but I call it coconut water because it's a more subtle version in my mind of coconut than just coconut itself. So there's a very soft coconut water kind of a scent. Jasmine, maybe another white flower. I was thinking tiare, I can't pronounce it, tiare, whatever, but I don't think so. I definitely smelled some ylang ylang, but really just like a little drop of it. Then I smelled tobacco or dried leaves and amber, and the amber's adding a little bit of kind of sweetness to it. So when I think about these types of scents, I always think the base is kind of a little bit of coconut, depending how strong that is, depends on the fragrance. Very often there's a white flower. Amber adds warmth, so that makes some sense. And a lot of times there's vanilla. This scent really got much warmer, sweeter an hour in, And after about another hour, I felt the amber was a little bit stronger, and I also felt like almost I was smelling just a touch of rose or vanilla. The sweetness really kind of played up on my skin after about an hour. And then I also thought it got a little bit more balmy, not exactly spicy. I have a sample of the Tom Ford Amber Absolute. So the second time I wore this, I put that on my inner, my inner elbow, and then I had the Soleil Blanc here, and I would go back and forth. And so Amber Absolute has that rich warmth of the amber, but it also has a lot of spiciness and patchouli and all that. This doesn't have that spiciness, that patchouli. It gets the warmth of the amber, but in like a warmth with the coconut and the tropical flower thing, which jasmine to me, I don't know, has that feel sometimes. And as I wore it, I felt like the florals got a little bit stronger and then kind of faded out. And that's where a man could wear it, in that you have to be willing to get a rich, mature floral note in there, but it is less floral than a lot of the like scents. I also felt like, okay, 2 hours I said sweeter, more mature, rich floral note, but still subtle. 3 hours, I almost smelled like a little bit of pepper in there. And I felt like salt, so salt and pepper, and it became a warm, balmy floral, just a little bit richer. Tom Ford scents on me don't wear that long, honestly. Most of the private collections. Some of the regular, not private collections, wear longer actually, but this probably lasted a good 6, 7, 8 hours. I think it lasted longer than I felt like it lasted, just because it is one of those that almost becomes a background scent, because a lot of the elements of it are things that we kind of grew up smelling, especially, warm days on the beach and everything. So I think I probably didn't appreciate the longevity of the scent, but still a lot of the private collections from Tom Ford don't last that long on me. So I did look up amber because I was curious. I thought, okay, amber, that's a stone, right? It's not a stone, but a resin that's dried. And so it said benzoin, labdanum, and vanilla. And also sometimes what goes into it is sandalwood, vetiver, and patchouli. So I'm not smelling the last two. I can see a touch, just a touch of sandalwood. That might have been the little bit of spiciness besides the pepper that I smelled in it. But especially comparing the Amber Absolute with this one, the Soleil Blanc, definitely not patchouli, incense, strong spice at all in this scent. It's a really subtle, warm. Vanilla I pondered on a lot. I'm still pondering vanilla, and the more I smell it, yeah, it's coconut vanilla, right? It's just this little tiny sweetness, richness that isn't cloying or overdone, just because the coconut is kind of more that coconut water. And I looked up benzoin. So, a balsamic resin obtained from the bark of several species of trees in the genus Styrax. It's used in perfume, some kind of incense, as a flavoring in medicine. Like I said, I do not smell anything incense-like in this. No, not on me. I mean, I can see on different skin, it might warm up that way, but on me, it's definitely not there. Then they say that it has sweet vanilla-like aroma, and it's used in church incense a lot of times. It comes from Asia, Southeast Asia, and it can also be grown in the United States, so Sumatra. But they say it's used in the United States in pharmaceutical preparations, which I found kind of strange. That's why I wanted to mention it. And so I also looked up the element of suntan oil or suntan lotion. It's one of, again, those scents that we just recognize, and so I wanted to know what was in it. And what I got was that it's basically a floral warm odor. a lot of times, and a lot of it's based on salicylates, which are naturally in things, certain flowers like gardenia, tiare, frangipani, and also a lot of times there's bits of vanilla, coconut. I didn't know that the classic Coppertone smell has coconut in it, but that's what I read. I just never thought of it that way. And they said that these types of perfumes often have, and the chemicals used to create them, add facets to the creation because they aid in the diffusion of fragrances, making them, and I'm quoting, open up and expand in a sunny, exhilarating way. I thought that was kind of an interesting way of describing it. Ylang ylang also, gardenia, jasmine, lily are sometimes used in kind of these sorts of fragrances. And I guess a lot of it too is just memory based, since there are a lot of different suntan lotions, right? Banana Boat's going to smell different from Coppertone, so you'll have slightly different mixes of scents in them. That was kind of a lot of chemistry actually in my descriptions on this, so I tone that down. So overall, what do I think of the scent? I think that it definitely is unisex. For some men, it might be a little too floral. The floral is a lot more subtle and subdued than in a lot of these types of, you know, sunny, summery fragrances that make you think of wafting oceans and sandy beaches and all of that. But there is definitely that floral element, and I smelled the white flowers. I did get those flashes of rose at one point, but then they disappeared, and so I wasn't sure if it was just the warmth of the vanilla, but you definitely get a little bit of coconut, a little bit of ylang ylang, and that amber, but without that spiciness that a lot of amber scents have. Instead, you get the warmth. So compared to most of these types of scents, I think it's a little bit less floral, a little bit more unisex. It definitely has a sophistication to it. If you think beaches are sophisticated, but that really was, yeah, that's what now I'm almost smelling pineapple in it too, but I didn't smell that the past 2 days I was wearing it, so you can just take that with a grain of salt, which I said I did smell at one point too. But I like it. I like it. Anyway, I would love to get feedback, thoughts, comments, suggestions, anything else you have to say. If you smelt it, I would love to hear if you think I'm right or wrong. Like I said, I had to go blind on this one because I didn't see any other reviews or descriptions. Thanks, Happy New Year, and it's weird to be doing a summer type fragrance in January, but I guess that's how the world works. Take care.